Well, Hurricane Alley is back open for the season as they welcome guests into the park over the weekend. Our Mariah Gallegos was one of those visitors, and she reports on where things stand at this point in the pandemic.
It's the 10th anniversary for Hurricane Alley Waterpark, and they're inviting back guests, recommending masks. That is, of course, unless you're enjoying some Dippin' Dots or water.
We're really excited about is the actual science behind being outdoors, which is huge, being in the sun, and on top of that having chlorine involved has been a great effect for our water park.
Sam Canavati with the water park says because of these factors, they believe the park is a safe environment for visitors. He also adds the continued effort of vaccinations happening across the community is playing a role in more people feeling safe to go out.
It has been a very long, difficult road, and we feel like we're finally there.
The pandemic caused much uncertainty and low visitor turnout during the 2020 season. Canavati says they're hopeful this year they can get back on track. Guests are encouraged to wear masks and utilize the sanitation stations that have been set up across the park. Mariah Gallegos, 3 News.